Hello, all you Gare Bears around the world, and welcome to another edition of the Gare Bear Review. Yes, I apologize for the little delay. The schedule's here a bit hectic lately, but we are back and grislier than ever. In case you haven't noticed, my lovely, luscious beard here, because it is November and we are doing No Shave November here at the Gare Bear Review. So get ready for a lot of these hairy dudes. That sounded weird. Yeah, that kind of sounded weird. Anyway, in case you haven't noticed, behind me, Brad Pitt is not here, but he is in the new movie that we're going to go over. It is Fury, and yes, it is another war movie. I know, we're a little bit sick of these recently. They started coming out of the workshop. But this one was pretty interesting to watch because it's not based on really anything per se. It was inspired by World War II. It just happens to be the interesting and somewhat new concept that they were following in this movie was actually really cool. They happen to follow a just like certain particular tank regiment and these guys that are within this regiment, and they tend to just branch out on that, which is what really kind of cool. And they had there's like six of them, and the actors who brought life to these characters were actually really great. The action scenes were also great. I mean, although they were a little fast paced and a little fast paced camera work and a little shaky here and there, but it worked, and it was actually really fun to watch. It was I was not at the edge of my seat, but the action does hold up. It's actually really interesting to watch. It's actually fun, entertaining to watch, I could say. But like I said, the acting was done really well. I mean, you have Logan Lerman, Brad Pitt, Shia LaBeouf. They were actually really good, and I was actually really impressed with the way that they worked around. They were working with their characters, the way that they developed their characters. Because, like I said, this is a movie that's not really physically based on something in particular. It's more of an inspiration. They took a tank regiment, they made up these characters, they put them together, they made them a family, and they went with it. And honestly, Shia LaBeouf wasn't actually a total douche, and wasn't annoying at all. With in this movie, with his screaming and his lines, and like I was actually really shocked that he was actually okay to watch. And the thing with the acting in this also is that the the lines were they're most of these characters were a little bit southern, and the heavy accents that some of the actors use, like John Bernthal and Shia LaBeouf, in general, they in the beginning, especially in the beginning when you first got introduced to these characters, there was a very thick accent, and it sounded like they mumbled over their lines. That you couldn't really understand it unless you had fucking subtitles or a closed captioning device on you. But it ended up being really hard to understand what they were trying to get out of those characters. Uh, and it was the thing is, it was hard to figure out what those characters were trying to do with the others, and it was hard, is what I'm basically saying. And I didn't really like having to like physically like think about what happens to what are they saying to that character? Why is it this? Why is it this tone? Why is it that tone? Um, so it has those little bit of elements, but it also, and a big aspect of this film was that now, unlike a lot of war films, this actually runs about 2 hours, but unfortunately it really ends up playing longer than you think, meaning it basically, you're sitting there for a longer period of time. When it's there longer, you're sitting there longer than its playtime, and it's kind of annoying when that happens. Like, if you recently watched my Gone Girl review, that movie was actually longer than this by an hour. It was 3 hours and change, and it actually played a bit fast paced and a bit and it flowed naturally, and I actually wanted more out of it. This had the complete opposite of that. Basically, it was a long movie. It was like two and change, 2 hours and change, and it played long. It made me want to go to the bathroom. It made me want to get up and stretch my legs. It made me not want to sit there for that long of a period of time. Um, it also doesn't help that this is also a war movie, so there's a split decision, a lot of dialogue and sweet action scenes, which they do end up doing in this film. They end up splitting the both of it up. I guess fairly okay. It wasn't there was enough action scenes where it kept me entertained and involved in the story. The Brad Pitt and all the other actors tend to push the story along as well. There were a couple scenes where I was a little off put because they ended up stretching it out, or just a plug in here and there. It was kind of annoying. Um, the thing is here, I'm actually going to say I'm not going to recommend this film, only because of the factors that I gave you before. It plays long. It's a little bit boring. There's not enough scenes to keep you. It didn't keep me. It kept me. It will keep you entertained, but it won't keep you in the seat for very long. I'm telling you, probably halfway through, you'll probably want to get up and leave. It doesn't really keep you motivated enough to keep watching this movie, and that's what that's what I got out of it. I don't know if you guys have seen it already, or if you want to go check this out. If you do, however, want to check this out, besides my D recommendation, I should say, uh, do so by Netflix it or get it from a library. Don't really pay for it. Just go out and just rent it or something. Uh, Other than that, whatever you guys want to do is up to you guys. This is in my opinion, and I'm saying don't. It's just a waste of time. But what is not a waste of time, and yes, this is a segue in case you haven't noticed or have been watching fluently on my channel. But this is my channel, so make sure you guys select, subscribe, give a big thumbs up down there. I know you know how to do that because you guys are awesome, and future Gare Brands in the mix. And make sure you guys stay tuned for our next adventure, because I believe Keanu Reeves is back with John Wick, so this should be very interesting. And I don't think he knows karate this time, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Bye!